This was never supposed to be a rivalry. Let's get that clear up front. The Cleveland Browns quarterback room was supposed to be stable, quiet, predictable. Dillon Gabriel was brought in as a polished, experienced option. Not flashy, not headline-worthy, just reliable. The kind of guy who could settle into the system, keep things moving, and maybe, just maybe, turn into something special down the road.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
And then came Shedeur Sanders. Not just a quarterback. A walking brand. A media darling. An instant sensation. He hadn't even thrown a regular season pass yet, but the buzz? Deafening. And when he did take the field for his preseason debut, he cooked. It wasn't just the stat line, though yes, 14 of 23 for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns against NFL defenders is nothing to sneeze at. It was the way he did it. The tempo, the control, the swagger. You couldn't even call it confidence, it was command. Like he belonged out there. Like the moment wasn't too big. Like he'd already been here before. And the crowd? Mine's. Social media exploded. National media couldn't stop replaying his touchdown drive. There was a Nike campaign ready to roll before the second half. The comparisons to Tom Brady? Okay, maybe a little ridiculous, but the energy? Unmistakable. This wasn't just a promising rookie performance. This was a moment. But while Shedeur was rising, the quarterback the Browns actually planned around, Dillon Gabriel, was falling flat on his face. Literally. Because when Gabriel got his chance, it didn't look like command. It looked like a crash. 2 turnovers. 1 fumble. 1 pick six. 1 totally collapsed narrative. And no, it's not all about stats. Yes, Gabriel threw for 143 yards and completed 13 of 18. But when the lights were brightest, he wilted. When pressure came, he panicked. The ball security vanished, and so did any illusions of him being the safe option. Meanwhile, Shedeur didn't even play the next game, and somehow, his stock kept rising. You ever seen someone win a round they weren't even in? That's what this has become. Shedeur Sanders is clowning Dillon Gabriel without even lifting a finger. And it's not mean. It's not personal. It's just obvious. Because Gabriel can throw for 100 yards and complete 70% of his passes, but if it ends with a fumble and a pick six, that's what people remember. That's what coaches remember. That's what Shedeur remembers, sitting on the sideline, ice in his veins, knowing the cameras are going to pan to him every time the offense stalls. And trust, he notices. Shedeur might not be the loudest voice in interviews. He might be saying all the right things. But the eyes? The smirk when the crowd chants his name? The calm posture after Gabriel's second turnover? That's not shade. That's a warning. Because he knows exactly what's happening. He knows this QB room was never supposed to be about him. That he was supposed to sit, learn, be humble and wait. But when you ball out that hard in your first real NFL action, when you light up the Panthers and outplay every other quarterback in that building, there's no going back. The genie's out of the bottle. And Gabriel? Poor guy is stuck trying to undo a bad first impression while Sanders keeps riding the high of a perfect debut. That's not just a hard battle to win, it's impossible. Because now every Gabriel mistake becomes a Shedeur highlight, even when he's not on the field. And it's not just the fans pushing the narrative. It's the media, the analysts. The team knows. The receivers know who's throwing catchable balls. The offensive line knows who's reading pressure correctly. The defense knows who gives them the best shot at not having to carry the whole game. And Shedeur? He knows he's got the room. That's why this whole fourth string label the Browns are clinging to feels like comedy. You expect people to believe he's behind Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco? Come on. Kenny is fine. Flacco's a vet. Gabriel has flashes. But Shedeur is fire. He's the spark. The one who's not just playing well, he's shifting culture. That's what happens when you mix talent with timing. When a guy walks in, shows up big in a high-profile preseason game, and then becomes the center of a media storm, all without saying a word. That's not luck. That's presence. And here's the part that really puts pressure on Cleveland. They're running out of excuses. They can't say he's not ready. We've seen that he is. They can't say he doesn't have chemistry with the offense. His drive against Carolina looked smoother than anything Gabriel's run in weeks. They can't say the locker room isn't behind him. You can feel the shift. So what can they say? Injury? Not anymore. Development? That ship sailed when he outplayed 3 quarterbacks in 20 minutes. Depth chart politics? Please. The fans have already stormed that castle. This is now about one thing: momentum. And the Browns are terrified of it. Because once they name Shedeur the starter, even as QB2 behind a vet like Flacco, it's over. There's no going back. He's not the quiet rookie anymore. He's the face. The guy every media outlet wants in front of a camera. The guy every young fan wants on a jersey. The guy who'll be scrutinized, praised, compared, and hyped for the rest of the year. That's the kind of attention that scares conservative coaches. But you know who isn't scared? Shedeur Sanders. Because this is what he was built for. This is what his whole life has prepared him for. From high school lights to Colorado chaos to the NFL preseason spotlight, he's never flinched. Never backed down. And now that he's got momentum, he's not just clowning Dillon Gabriel with a smirk. He's taking his job without even touching the field. It's surgical, quiet, effective. The kind of takeover that can't be stopped because it's not loud, it's inevitable. You feel it. The city feels it. The franchise? They're trying not to admit it, but they feel it too. And the longer they delay the moment, the worse it looks. Because now Gabriel is playing scared. Every throw is overcalculated. Every rep feels like it's under surveillance. That pressure? It's not from the fans. It's not from the media. It's from the sideline. From Shedeur. Watching. Waiting. And that's the real clowning. Not in some trash talk or viral tweet, but in the way Shedeur's existence is becoming too big to bench. The Browns thought they were getting a project. What they got was a phenomenon. Now it's just a matter of time. Because the next time Dillon Gabriel turns the ball over, or the next time the offense stalls and the crowd starts chanting, or the next time the camera cuts to Shedeur with that cool, unbothered face, it's not just going to be a moment. It's going to be a shift. And when that happens, you're not going to hear booing. You're going to hear applause. Because Shedeur Sanders didn't just win the battle. He rewrote the whole story. Because the Browns' quarterback battle? It's not a battle anymore. It's a countdown. A countdown to when the coaching staff finally stops pretending this is a fair fight and just admits what the rest of the football world already knows. Shedeur Sanders isn't just in the conversation. He is the conversation. And Dillon Gabriel? He's not holding the clipboard with quiet dignity. He's in full survival mode. You can see it in his eyes after every stalled drive. He knows the narrative's shifting. He knows the leash is getting shorter. And he knows, probably better than anyone else, that this thing is slipping away from him, one turnover at a time. Because when you fumble twice in a preseason game with all eyes on you, when you cough up a pick-six that makes the highlight reel for all the wrong reasons, you don't just lose confidence, you start losing support. Support from the fans? Gone. Support from the locker room? Fragile at best. Support from the media? Please. That bridge burned the minute Shedeur's highlights hit Twitter. And while Gabriel's working damage control in the press, talking about growing pains and adjustments to NFL speed, Shedeur doesn't have to say a single word. He just walks past the cameras in clean streetwear, AirPods in, iced out wrist, nodding at teammates like a guy who knows exactly how this movie ends. Because we all know how it ends. You've got one quarterback who's spiraling under pressure, and another who hasn't even started a regular season game and is already getting Brady comps. That's not media hype anymore. That's momentum. And it's deadly for guys like Gabriel. Because even if you're technically still ahead on the depth chart, it doesn't mean anything if every reporter in the building is talking about the guy behind you. It doesn't matter if you're QB2 or QB1 when the entire locker room watches the tape and sees who's moving the chains, who's making throws under pressure, who's keeping cool when the bullets fly. And yes, Shedeur's been injured. Or at least, that's the line the coaching staff keeps repeating, hoping no one asks too many questions. Oblique tightness, they said. Out of precaution, they said. He's day-to-day. Except Shedeur's been moving just fine. Practicing. Loosening up on the sidelines. Smiling like a guy who knows exactly how the PR machine works. And the fans? They're not buying it. Because if the Browns were really protecting his health, they wouldn't be shuffling Gabriel out there like he's their franchise savior, knowing full well he's giving them Walmart backup energy on the field. No offense. Actually, scratch that, full offense. Because if the roles were reversed, if Shedeur Sanders had been the one who fumbled the ball, then immediately threw a pick-six to the opposing team, he wouldn't be getting the "let's give him time to develop" treatment. He'd be getting the "maybe he's not ready for this level" treatment. He'd be trending for all the wrong reasons. But that's the game, right? One guy is allowed to struggle in public and call it growth. The other guy has to be perfect just to stay in the room. But guess what? Shedeur was perfect. That debut wasn't just a good game, it was a statement. The accuracy. The anticipation. The presence. He made it look easy. He made defenses look slow. He had command. You know what it reminded people of? Rookie year Russell Wilson. Early Dak Prescott. Even shades of prime Jimmy Garoppolo before the injuries. Guys who came in with chips on their shoulder and played like they had nothing to lose. That's Shedeur right now. Calculated. Low-key dangerous. And it's not just what he does on the field. Let's talk about the off-field presence. The brand. The gravity. He's got Deion's confidence, but with a measured, media-trained calm that makes people lean in instead of pull back. He's not just good for a rookie. He's marketable. He's watchable. Nike dropped a campaign with him that went viral before he's even touched the regular season. He's pulling numbers on Instagram that some starters in this league would kill for. He's got it, and the Browns are sitting on that like it's some secret backup plan. You don't put a guy like that behind Kenny Pickett and expect the fan base to stay patient. You don't have a literal content goldmine on your bench and keep running Gabriel out there like it's a low-stakes practice drill. The fans are already over it. The chants have started. The tweets are flying. The jerseys are selling, and they're not Gabriel's. This is where Stefanski and the front office have to make a decision. Not just about who plays week one. Not just about depth charts and injury designations. They have to decide if they're going to fight the tide or ride the wave. Because this isn't about protecting Shedeur anymore. He doesn't need protecting. He's ready. And every day they pretend otherwise, it just gets more ridiculous. More performative. More obvious. Every Gabriel turnover becomes another meme. Every Shedeur clip becomes another reason to scream at the TV. And every second the Browns pretend like this is just part of the process, they're falling behind. The team can feel it. The league can feel it. Shedeur can definitely feel it. And the wildest part? He's not even trying. This isn't some media campaign he's orchestrating. He's not leaking stories or calling out coaches. He's just existing. Just being undeniable. That's the ultimate flex. When your mere presence starts dismantling the guy ahead of you without saying a word, that's when the game is already over. Shedeur Sanders is winning the quarterback battle without throwing another pass. He's clowning Dillon Gabriel without even speaking. Because he doesn't need to. His play did the talking. The media did the echoing. And the fans? They're ready for the real show. So sure, let Gabriel run out there a few more times. Let him try to clean up the mess. But every snap he takes that ends in a mistake? Every red zone opportunity that ends in a turnover? That's not just on Gabriel. That's on the Browns. Because they've already got the guy. They're just too scared to admit it. But not for long. Because Shedeur time is coming. And when it hits, there won't be any more debates. No more fake injuries. No more developing stories. Just one quarterback. One team. One spotlight. And everyone will know who it belongs to. At this point, you could hang a scoreboard just for media momentum, and Shedeur Sanders would be blowing out Dillon Gabriel 35-zip. Without touching the field again. Without lacing up his cleats. Without saying a single word. He's not campaigning. He doesn't have to. His existence is the campaign. And that, right there, is what's shaking the walls inside the Browns facility. Because when you've got a guy like Shedeur, who's winning the locker room, winning the crowd, winning the narrative, You can only pretend he's invisible for so long. Let's be honest, Dillon Gabriel is playing for his football life right now. Every drive he's under center feels like a high-wire act, and every mistake sends him further into the shadows of Shedeur's looming presence. And that pick six? The one that blew up on social media and had every Browns fan smashing the replay button in horror? Yeah, that wasn't just a bad throw. That was symbolic. A turning point. A loud, blinking neon sign that said, "This ain't it." It was a classic panic throw. Pressure off the edge. Eyes locked on one read. Ball out late, floated like a balloon, and snatched by a linebacker who read him like a children's book. That was the moment everyone collectively sighed and said, "We've seen enough." You felt it in the stadium. The crowd didn't even boo, it groaned. Loud, frustrated, resigned. Like they were watching a movie they already knew the ending to. And what made it worse? The camera cut to Shedeur on the sideline. Relaxed. One hand on his helmet. No flinching. No panic. Just waiting. He didn't need to laugh. He didn't need to talk trash. His entire vibe said it all. This job's mine the second they stop lying to themselves. That's the power of presence. It's what separates a dude from the guy. And Shedeur is the guy, whether Cleveland's ready to admit it or not. Let's talk about the off-field part of this, because it matters more than anyone in the front office seems to realize. Quarterback isn't just about arm strength and pocket awareness anymore. It's about leading a brand, carrying a franchise, commanding attention. And Shedeur? He's doing that in his sleep. He's got media training, social awareness, swag, discipline, all in one package. He's humble without being soft, confident without being cocky. Everything you want in a face of the franchise quarterback today. Not 5 years from now. Not once he develops. Right now. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel, for all his solid mechanics and college accolades, doesn't move the needle. The crowd isn't fired up when he takes the field. There's no electricity. Just cautious optimism, followed by frustration. It's like watching someone rehearse a play you've already seen bomb twice on Broadway. Nice effort. Wrong fit. And it's not all Gabriel's fault. He's in an impossible spot. The weight of expectation, the pressure of competition, and the constant comparisons to a rookie who's got more spotlight in a month than Gabriel's had in his entire football life. But this is the NFL. Pressure doesn't wait for comfort. It demands performance. And Shedeur Sanders? He's already passed the test. You can't bottle this up anymore. You can't bury him on the depth chart and expect people not to ask questions. You can't pretend like it's all part of some big development arc when the numbers, and the vibes, are screaming otherwise. And let's be real, the locker room feels this too. You think the defense hasn't noticed which quarterback actually moves the ball in practice? You think the receivers haven't made mental notes about who throws the best ball? You think the O-line isn't aware of who commands the huddle without sounding unsure? They know. And the longer Stefanski delays the obvious switch, the more it risks eroding something way more important than a box score. The players have to believe that the best man will play. That what they do on the field matters. That reps are earned, not gifted. But when they see Shedeur torching practice reps, showing poise in live game action, and still being relegated to the sidelines, that's how locker rooms sour. That's how resentment starts to bubble under the surface. Quiet at first. A few side eyes. Then a few mumbled frustrations. Then it grows. Because it always grows. And it spreads fast when everyone sees the solution, and leadership refuses to pull the trigger. Let's also talk about ownership, because word around the league is that Jimmy Haslam likes Shedeur. A lot. He's reportedly not thrilled with how this situation is being handled. And when the guy who signs the checks starts asking why your most talented quarterback is stuck behind 2 stopgaps and a turnover machine, that's when things start shifting fast. Because Haslam may not call plays, but he absolutely knows what sells tickets, what fills seats, what draws national attention. And right now, every time Shedeur Sanders' name trends on Twitter, it's a reminder that Cleveland has something special and they're wasting time. So what's the move? The Browns can try to ride this out. Give Gabriel a few more series. Hope the turnovers stop. Cross their fingers that Shedeur doesn't explode in practice and make it impossible to ignore. But let's not kid ourselves. The window is closing. Every snap Gabriel takes from here on out is a countdown. Every mistake is a nail in the coffin. Every Shedeur highlight is another match being struck. Because when it breaks, it's going to break loud. There's no easing into this. The moment they name Shedeur the starter, whether it's week 3, week 6, or week 10, it's going to be a moment. He's too big now. Too undeniable. The fan base will explode. The media will swarm. The NFL will pay attention. And when he delivers, which, let's be real, he will, that's when this turns from a quarterback battle to a full-blown franchise reset. The energy will shift. The culture will shift. And the Browns? They'll finally be doing what they've failed to do for years. Build around a true leader. So yeah, Shedeur Sanders might not be the starter yet. But he's already taken control. Without talking. Without complaining. Without forcing it. Just by being him. And at this point, the only thing more absurd than pretending he isn't the guy is letting Gabriel keep going out there like this is still up for debate. It's not. Because the next time Gabriel drops back and the offense sputters, and that crowd starts chanting Shedeur's name, that won't be pressure. That'll be Judgment Day. And when it comes, everyone will finally have to say out loud what they've been trying to avoid for weeks. It's Shedeur Sanders' team now. And no pick six, faked oblique, or PR spin can stop it.